Hello children, welcome back to the science video session. In this video session, you are going to learn the lesson Basis of Classification from Biology of Standard 7. In this lesson, you are going to learn the need of dichotomous classification, classification of animals, classification of plants, the importance of five-kingdom classification and the binomial nomenclature. Come, let's enter into the lesson.
Unit 5 Basis of Classification. Introduction. Children, when you get ready to go to school, all your things, uniform, lunchbox, water bottle, shoes, etc., to be kept ready. Just imagine if all these things are not ready, you will need to spend too much time to collect them. Likewise, in a grocery shop, medical shop, and bakery, all the items are systematically arranged. Sorting of things is very much required and important for all living beings. We see various plants and animals around us. It is estimated that about 8.7 million species of living organisms have been identified and named till now. However, many scientists believe that only a small portion of the total species existing on Earth has been identified. In order to know about the behavior and relationship among organisms that are known, biologists have classified them into two broad groups, plants and animals. Grouping of living organisms based on their common feature is known as biological classification. See, the organisms are classified into three types. They are bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. See, bacteria are further classified into Monera, and the eukarya is further classified into protist, fungi, plants, and animals. Come, let's know about the classification. Children, let's know about what is classification. List out things found in our classroom. They are chair, table, blackboard, chalkpiece, cupboard, fan, light, switches, school bag, lunch bag, textbook, notebook, water bottle, pencil box, pencil, pen, rubber, writing pad, color pencil, sharpener, compass, etc. First, find out one common difference among these materials to classify. Okay, so what's the common difference between these materials? They are made up of wooden or non-wooden material. Okay, so first we are going to classify them into wooden material and non-wooden material. Next, find out another difference to classify them into subgroups. There may be wooden sitting material and wooden writing material, and non-wooden sitting material, non-wooden writing material. Okay, so next we can classify the writing material further. How? So, which are the things are fixed and which are the things are portable? Okay, see here in the writing material, writing wooden material, which are fixed as the blackboard with wooden frame, and which are portable, your pencil, your wooden scale, color pencil, eraser, book and notebook. Is it? Next, come to non-wooden material. How the writing material are classified into further? Again, fixed and portable. So, what is the fixed non-wooden material in our classroom? Sometimes it may be blackboard and whiteboard. Next, what are the portable non-wooden material? Yes, pens, rulers, color pencil, pencil box, chalk piece, etc. So what is meant by portable children is nothing but the things which can carry. Okay. Next, come to sitting material. So the wooden sitting material further classified into with arm and without arm. So which is with arm in our classroom, that is chair. Without arm, it is table. Okay. In the same way, the non-wooden material, in the non-wooden material, sitting material is classified into again with arm and without arm. Okay, so which is the with arm material? That is a chair. Okay, sometimes it made up of with plastic or iron. And what about the object without arm in our classroom? Again, it is table. Sometimes it made up of iron or plastic. Okay, so these are some similarities and differences exist among these materials. So we need to observe and identify those similarity and differences to construct a dichotomous key. So here we constructed a dichotomous key. Come, let's know about what is dichotomous key. Dichotomous key. So what is dichotomous key? The dichotomous key allows us to make quick references and identify a particular thing. Classification provides scientists a systematic, easy way of studying organisms. Classification is done using this dichotomous key. So, what is dichotomous key? It is a tool used to classify organisms based on their similarity and differences. So what are the features of dichotomous key? They are a single feature that differentiate a group easily. One character selected to separate the group as present or absent. And continue the second step until only one item will remain at the end. Let's see the dichotomy of some animals using a dichotomy pattern. Based on the presence or absence of backbone, they are classified into two groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. Vertebrates means the animals with backbone, invertebrates means the animals without backbone. The vertebrates further classified into warm-blooded animals and cold-blooded animals based on its body temperature. What is meant by warm-blooded and cold-blooded? Cold-blooded animals can be defined as the animals which cannot regulate their internal body temperature with a change in the environment. They cannot survive in extreme temperature conditions. Example of cold-blooded animals are reptiles, fish, and amphibians. And what about warm-blooded animals? The warm-blooded animals are defined as the animals which can regulate and maintain constant internal body temperature. They can survive in any temperature range as they can adapt to it easily. Example, mammals and birds. Next, the invertebrates are classified into with jointed legs and without legs. The with jointed legs animals are further classified into with 3 pairs of legs and with more than 3 pairs of legs. Next, the animals without legs are classified into worm-like and non-worm-like. First, come to the vertebrates. The warm-blooded animals, they are classified into mammals and birds. Example for mammals are bear, tiger, etc. Example for birds are ostrich, peacock, eagle, etc. And now cold-blooded animals, they are classified into fish, reptiles and amphibians. Example for fish, salmon, goldfish, etc. And what about reptiles? Turtle, crocodile and snake. Next, amphibian. Amphibian, what is meant by amphibian? The animal which can live both in the land and the water. Example, frog, toad and also the turtle. Next, come to the invertebrates. They are classified into with jointed leg and without legs. So with jointed legs further classified into with 3 pairs of legs, with more than 3 pairs of legs. So with 3 pairs of legs, example, ant, cockroach and ladybug. Then with more than 3 pairs of legs, example, scorpion, spider, millipede. Next, the animals without legs are further classified into worm-like and non-worm-like. So the worm-like animals are earthworm and leech, and non-worm-like animals are flukeworm and tapeworm. Do you know Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and thinker who lived about 2400 years ago? Aristotle came up with the following grouping system that was used for almost 2000 years after his death. He classified all organisms into either animals or plants. Then he classified into those with blood and those without blood. Then the animals are classified into three groups based on their method of movement: walkers, flyers, or swimmers. Next, basics of classification. So, living organisms are so large in number that they need to be classified into smaller groups. Classification of living organism is made on the basis of their characteristics, similarities, and differences. So, what is classification? How we can define it? The method of arranging the organism into groups is called classification. When we classify things, we put them into groups based on their characteristics. So, why do we classify things? Classifying things makes it easy for us to know their similarities and differences. Things with similar characters are classified into same groups. These things are usually similar in at least one characteristic. Things with different characteristics are classified into different groups. These things are usually different in at least one characteristic. Classification helps us to understand living and non-living things in better way. For example, we can classify a newly discovered organism. We would come to know how it relates with others. Next, need for classification. Classification is needed to identify an organism correctly. It helps to know the origin and evolution of an organism, to establish the relationship among different organisms, and it provides the information about living things in different geographical regions. It helps in understanding how complex organisms must have evolved from simpler ones. Next, we are going to learn hierarchy of organisms. Scientists have been able to discover and classify more than 2 million organisms on the earth, ranging from tiny bacteria to the largest blue whales. Each organism has been classified in a category based on its evolutionary relationship with other group of organisms. We can define hierarchy of organisms as the system of arranging taxonomic categories in a descending order based on their relationship with other group of organisms is called hierarchy of categories. This system was introduced by Linnaeus and is called Linnaean hierarchy. There are 7 main categories of hierarchies, namely kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Species is the basic unit of classification. Based on the classification, the table shows the different phylum with the general features and example of different phyla and classes. Come, let's see that. The first one, the phylum Protozoa. Example, amoeba, euglena, and paramecium. The general characters of these protozoas are: they are microscopic unicellular, pseudophodia, flagella, and cilia for locomotion, reproduce by fission or conjugation. They are using the pseudophodia, that means the false leg, and the flagella and cilia for their motion. Then they reproduce by fission or conjugation. Next, the phylum Porifera. Example, Leucosolenia, Spongilla, and Cycon. So these are multicellular organisms with holes in the body, skeletal formed by spiculous, asexual and sexual reproduction. Next, phylum Coleoptera, example Hydra, jellyfish and corals. So these are the multicellular organism, diploplastic, that means they are having only two embryonic cell layer, ectoderm and endoderm, not the mesoderm. Next, they are free swimming, solitary or colonial. Solitary means they can be alone or in colony. Then they are doing asexual and sexual reproduction. Next phylum Platyhelminthes, example Planaria, liver fluke, blood fluke and tapeworm. The general characters of these animals are they are acylomates, that means they lack cavity between the body wall and the digestive tract. They are fluid filled. Next, parasites inside the body of animals and human beings. Mostly they are hermaphrodite. That means they are having both male and female reproduction system in their body. Next, phylum Ascalmenthes or Nematoda. Example Ascaris lumbricoides. The general characters of these animals are they are unsegmented body, mostly parasites in human beings and animals, causing diseases and doing asexual reproduction. Next, phylum Annelida. Example earthworm and leech. They are triproplastic, segmented body, mostly hermaphrodite, that means bisexual and unisexual. See, they are triproplastic means they are having three embryonic cell layer, that is endoderm, ectoderm and mesoderm. Next phylum Arthropoda, example crab, prawn, millipede, insects, scorpion and spider. The general characters of these animals are they are segmented body, thick chitinous cuticle forming an exoskeleton, pad and jointed legs, unisexual exhibits sexual dimorphism. What is meant by sexual dimorphism? The difference between the males and female of the same species such as color, shape and size. Next, phylum Mollusca, example cuttlefish, snail and octopus. They are soft-bodied, unsegmented, muscular head and foot and visceral mass. What is meant by visceral mass? Is nothing but is generally hold the bulk of the digestive, reproductive, excretory and respiratory system. So they are actually always contained within the shell and they are doing sexual reproduction. Next, phylum Echinodermata, example starfish, brittle star, sea cucumber and sea lily. The general characters of these animals are they are exclusively marine, spines and spicules over the body, water vascular system, they are tube feet for feeding, respiration and locomotion, then they are doing sexual reproduction. Next, phylum Chordates. The class Pisces, example shark, cutla, mullet and tilapia. The general characters of these animals are they are aquatic, cold-blooded vertebrates with boat-shaped body and jaws, locomotion by pad and median fins, sexual reproduction. Next class Amphibia. Example frog, toad, salamander and caecilian. The general characters of these animals are they are amphibious, that means they can live both in water and land. They are cold-blooded, two pairs of limbs, sexual reproduction. Next, the class Reptilia. Example, garden lizard, house lizard, turtles, tortoise, snakes, and crocodile. The general characters of these animals are they are cold-blooded, lung-breathing, scales over the body, pentadactyl limb, that means they have five finger. Next, they are adapted for climbing, running, and padding. They are oviparous, that means they are producing their young one by laying eggs. The next class, aves. Wader bird, roller bird, hoopoo bird, parrot, sparrow, hen, ostrich, and kiwi are the example of the ave. Next, they are the warm-blooded, exoskeleton of feathers, flight adaptation, spongy bones with air cavities, powerful eyes, sexual reproduction, and they are oviparous. Next, the class Mammalia. Example, kangaroo, cat, dog, tiger, zebra, and man. They are terrestrial warm-blooded, external ear or pinna, muscular diaphragm, and non-nucleated RBC. Now, that means the RBC contains no nucleus. Next, they are heterodont. What is mean by heterodont? Heterodont is nothing but is an anatomy. In anatomy, a heterodont means is an animal which possesses more than a single tooth morphology. In vertebrates, the heterodont pertains to animals where teeth are differentiated into different forms. Okay. Next, and they are diphodont. What is meant by diphodont? A diphodont is any animal with two successive sets of teeth. Initially, they are deciduous set and consequently the permanent set. Okay. Next, they are viviparous. That means they give birth to young ones. Classification of plants. Based on dichotomy, plants also can be classified into two main groups, flowering and non-flowering. Non-flowering plants do not produce seeds and flowering plants produce seeds. Based on their nature of plant body, non-flowering plants are classified into three types. They are algae, mosses, and ferns. Based on their fruit body, flowering plants are classified into two types. They are gymnosperms and angiosperms. Angiosperms further classified into two types. They are monocotyledon and dicotyledon based on the cotyledons present in the seed. See, the plants which do not produce seeds are classified into ferns, algae, and mosses. See, ferns has roots, stems, and leaves. Algae has no true roots, stems, or leaves, but mosses has some roots, stems, and leaves-like structure. Next, plants produce seeds are classified into non-flowering plants and flowering plants, that is gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperm classified into conifers and the angiosperms classified into monocotyledons and dicotyledon. Monocotyledons means with one cotyledon, seed with one cotyledon, example paddy. Dicotyledons, that is seeds with two cotyledons, example tamarind. Next we are going to see algae, the plants which do not produce seed. Here algae is thallus. They are not well differentiated into root, stem, and leaves. They are predominantly aquatic. They are unicellular or multicellular filamentous. Example, Chara. Next, mosses. Plant body is not differentiated into true root, stem, and leaves. They are water-living plants, needs moisture to complete its life cycle. Hence, they are referred to as amphibious plants.
They do not have any specialized vascular tissues for conduction of water and food. Example, Funaria. Next, ferns. Plant body is well differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Leaves may be large or small. Specialized vascular tissue are found for the conduction of water and food. Basically, they are the first land plants which grows well in shady, moist and cool places. Example, Adiantum. Next, gymnosperms. Here plants are perennial. That means they present at all seasons of the year. They are active all season of the year and they are woody, evergreen with true root, stem and leaves. They possess vascular tissues, xylem without vessels and phloem without companion cells. See, in the plants, vascular tissues are responsible for conducting the food and water through all the parts of the plants. See, here xylem in vascular tissues conducting the water and water soluble nutrients, and phloem conducting the proteins, sugar, etc. Ovule are naked without ovary, hence they do not produce fruits. Seed or naked. That example, Pinus and Cycas. Angiosperms. Plant body is well differentiated into true root, stem and leaves. They produce flower with four oles, calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Hence, they are known as flowering plants. Female reproductive organ ovary is present inside the flower which develops into fruit and ovule develops into seed. Plant possess well developed vascular system with xylem vessels and phloem companion cells. Angiosperms are the dominant plant form of present day. Based on the number of cotyledons, angiosperms are broadly divided into two groups, monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Cotyledons means the seed leaves. Plant seeds which have only one cotyledon are said to be monocots. Plant seeds which have two cotyledons are known as dicot. The cotyledons are shown in the picture. Here, for monocot plant, the example is paddy. For dicot, the example is tamarind. The Five Kingdom Classification. The Five Kingdom Classification was proposed by R.H. Whitaker in 1969. Five kingdoms were formed on the basis of characteristics such as cell structure, mode of nutrition, source of nutrition, and body organization. In the Five Kingdom classification, first we are going to see the kingdom Monera. All prokaryotes belongs to the kingdom Monera, which do not possess true nucleus. Cells of prokaryotes do not have a nuclear membrane and any membrane-bound organelles. Most of the bacteria are heterotrophic, but some are autotrophs. Bacteria and blue-green algae are example for Monera. Children, what is meant by autotroph? They are the producers because they can produce their own food. But what about heterotrophs? They are known as consumer because they consume producer or other consumers. They are depending others for their food. Next, kingdom Protista. The kingdom Protista includes unicellular and a few simple multicellular eukaryotes. There are two main groups of protists. The plant-like protists are photosynthetic and are commonly called algae. Algae include unicellular and multicellular types. Animals like protists are often called protozoans. They include amoeba and paramecium. The image of amoeba and paramecium are given in the picture. Kingdom fungi. Fungi are eukaryotic and mostly are multicellular. They secrete enzyme to digest the food and absorb the food after digested by the enzyme. Fungi saprophytes acts as decomposers, that is, the decay causing organisms, or as parasites. Kingdom fungi includes mold, mildews, mushrooms, and yeast. The image of mushroom and yeast are given in the picture.
Kingdom Plantae. Plantae, that is, plants or multicellular eukaryotes that carry out photosynthesis, reserve food materials as starch and lipids in the form of oil or fat. Plant cells have cell wall and specialized functions such as photosynthesis, transport of materials, and support. Kingdom Plantae includes ferns, cone bearing plants, and flowering plants. Kingdom Animalia. Animalia, that is, animals or multicellular, eukaryotic, and heterotrophic animals. What is meant by eukaryote? The organism which is having well defined nucleus and membrane bound organelles. Next, cells have no cell wall. Most members of the animal kingdom can move from place to place. Example, invertebrates like sponges, hydra, flatworms, roundworms, insects, snails, starfishes. Then vertebrates like fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, including human beings, belong to the kingdom Animalia.
Let's see the important characteristic of five kingdoms. First, we are going to see the cell type of all the five kingdoms. First, Monera. They are unicellular and prokaryotic. This type of organism is made up of only one cell, so they are called unicellular and prokaryotic. So here in this case, the nucleus is absent. Then Protista. They are unicellular and eukaryotic. Then fungi, they are multicellular, non-green and eukaryotic. Plantae, multicellular, eukaryotic. Animals, multicellular and eukaryotic. Next, nucleus. Except Monera, all the five kingdoms have nucleus in their cell. Next, body organization. See, Monera has cellular level organization. That means all the body functions are carried out by the cell. Next, Protista. Here also they are cellular level organization. Next, fungi. They are multicellular with loose tissues. In Plantae, tissue level and organ level organization. Next, animals, tissue, organ and organ system. Next, mode of nutrition. Monera, they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. Protista, autotrophic or heterotrophic. Fungi, they are saprophytic, parasitic, sometimes symbiotic. See, as we already seen, the fungi is act as decomposers, that is called saprophytic. Then what is meant by symbiotic? Symbiotic means fungus may live in the roots of the plants and the plant benefits because the fungus puts out mycelia that helps absorb water and nutrition. So they are associated with each other. So that is called symbiotic. Next, Plantae. They are autotrophic because they have chlorophyll. They can produce their own food. Animalia, they are heterotrophic. They are depending on other producers for their food. Next, example of Monera, bacteria and blue-green algae. Example for Protista, Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas. Example for fungi, Rhizophus and Agaricus. Example for Plantae, herb, shrub and trees. Example for Animalia, fish, frog, crocodile, birds and human being. Merits of five kingdom classification. This system of classification is more scientific and natural. This system of classification clearly indicates the cellular organization, mode of nutrition, and characters for early evolution of life. It is the most accepted system of modern classification as the different groups of organisms are placed phylogenetically. What is meant by phylogenetically? See, the development or evolution of a particular group of organism, that is called the phylogeny. Next, it indicates gradual evolution of complex organism from simpler one. Demerits of five kingdom classification. In this system of classification, viruses have not been given a proper place. Multicellular organisms have originated several times from protists. This type of classification has drawn back with reference to the lower forms of life. Some organisms included under Protista are not eukaryotic. Binomial nomenclature. Gaspard Bahin in 1623 introduced naming of organisms with two names, which is known as binomial nomenclature, and it was implemented by Carolus Linnaeus in 1753. He is known as father of modern taxonomy. Binomial nomenclature is an universal system of naming organisms. As per the system, each organism has two names. The first name is the genus name and the second name is the species name. Genus name begins with a capital letter and species name begins with a small letter. Example, the nomenclature of onion is Allium cepa. Here the genus name is Allium and the species name is cepa. Vernacular name is a local name that is familiar for a particular place. Binomial name is an universal name which never changes. Binomial nomenclature and classification help scientists to identify any organism and to place them at a particular hierarchy. Let's see the scientific names of some organism. First one, human being. The scientific name of human being is Homo sapiens. The scientific name of onion is Allium cepa. Next, the scientific name of rat is Rattus rattus. The scientific name of pigeon is Columba livia. The scientific name of tamarind is Tamarindus indica. The scientific name of lime is Citrus arentifolia. The scientific name of neem tree is Acidirecta indica. The scientific name of frog is Rana hexadactyla. The scientific name of coconut is Cocos nucifera. The scientific name of paddy is Oryza sativa. The scientific name of fish is Cutla cutla. The scientific name of orange is Citrus sinensis. The scientific name of ginger is Gingiber officinale. The scientific name of papaya is Corica papaya. The scientific name of date is Finis dactylifera.